Fine and Dandy podcast at 330 Studios. Thank you for joining us today. Here in a second, I'll introduce my wonderful co-host, Joshua Moreno. So glad to have him by my side and doing this podcast.
Oh, we're here, baby.
Yes, we are. Past few weeks, if you've been paying attention to our podcast at all, we've kind of, I guess you could say, gone a little bit more political. I'd say more humanitarian than anything, but to each their own how you perceive things, of course.
Fair enough.
Today, we'll dive into ourselves. We're going to dive into you. Sounded a little weird how I put that.
Sounded fucking sus, Daniel.
Hey, it is what it is.
Deep dive into you. Whoa.
Oh. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in and everyone who's been consistently listening. And for everyone out there trying to follow their dreams or pursue a passion or go for the glory by starting a business, kudos to you and continue to do your thing. And even if not everyone's supporting you, that's okay. Just keep pushing along. With that being said, support small businesses, support the people you love, and support the people around you because they need you more in this moment than ever, you know?
Hell yeah. I mean, it's becoming a situation where we understand that the government's going to bail out the corporations. The small businesses may get loans at the end of the day, like they have the SBA. But really, I mean, like, the scammers have been taking advantage of that and shit, like, crazy. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, as far as these small businesses go, if anything has been shown over the last year, that if we don't show them love, nobody's going to. And that's not necessarily what you would want. If you ever have the idea in your mind to start a business, look at how these people that had that idea implemented it and then got shitted on during a pandemic. I mean, just understand that that could be you. That could be your family. That could be family business of some sort. That could be like a person's only income. So it's like you have to understand exactly the parameters that are happening right now and the levels that it's getting to in this.
For me personally, I get it. You know, we all want to support people we know that are going to produce the quality that we're so used to, and any type of change is always a risk that we're going to take. But
risk is necessary sometimes.
But when it comes to your friends, or even if you know maybe the product isn't at its best yet, or they're still working on it, maybe give them some constructive criticism. Don't tell them it's bad necessarily, but say, hey, I'm going to support you still, throw some money at it. But this is where you can improve, especially if you want to make this any bigger, you want to get more customers, whatever the case may be. And that goes for any small business or any artists that are trying to make it and get a little bit bigger and work on their product and work on their craft. Working on your passion isn't an easy thing to do.
Right. I mean, actually, I'd say that's false. It is the easiest thing. Like, it's not, by saying easy, but it's the easy. It's like it's easier than doing something you don't want to do or something you're not passionate about. Better at being a janitor isn't fucking easy, but it's also fucking horrible. But at the end of the day, if you're passionate about something, it's easy to wake up and want to get better at it. You know what I mean?
Could be, and it's tough though, because you know, especially in a world where you need to make money to survive, or you have to work so much. I can see where it can be a difficult thing to constantly wake up and pursue what you want to do, amongst all the other things going on in your life.
Yeah.
So it can be a tough one to do, or a tough thing to do, especially when you're stuck in the quote unquote what they would say is the matrix. When you're stuck in this viewpoint of I need to do this in order to become this. Because the fact of the matter is, I can't speak for everybody in the world, but I'd say from where I'm at in this current position, you can become almost anything you want to become and do anything you want to do. And there may be some obstacles, but you have the opportunity of making a name for yourself or something of yourself. I mean, it's a matter of hard work, yeah, and perseverance and love for what you do. That as well. It's a tough thing to go through. Personally, for me, I think for anybody, I guess I can't. Well, okay, I can't speak for everybody, but for sure for myself, speaking, doing this podcast or doing anything I love to do, kind of weird because I'm not gonna let anybody else stop me.
Right, as you shouldn't.
From doing what I want to do, but on the same or on the opposite end of that same token, it's kind of tough because that constant thought of am I doing what I should be doing, because there's other options that can offer better stability in an easier manner, so to speak. Not necessarily easier, but what I've been taught would be the better way to go. You know?
Yeah, I understand. And I don't know because it's difficult because like you said you can't speak for everybody and you can speak for yourself but you want to be able to speak for the masses because you want things to progress to a certain area but you have to understand like your deck of cards that you were dealt and your situation that you grew up in formulated like the opinions that you have about how life should be or about how things should go and everybody's cards were dealt different and it's difficult to speak on topics like uh being able to do whatever you want and stuff like that whenever you understand there's people that are like disenfranchised and like taken advantage of in this world just based off of like the color of their skin their choices as far as religion goes sexual orientation and things like that they're treated differently they have different sets of options maybe they can only do what they can do what they want but do they have the option to do everything that you have the option to do you know what I mean like maybe their wants are limited by the things that they're available to them type that's fucked up
I mean, it's a terrible situation, especially if you see somebody else has the same exact opportunity, but they're able to make more of it due to certain circumstances.
my thing is that like talking about the matrix is like in the matrix why would that exist why should that like why do things like that exist you're learning so you understand that things are the way that they are and this certain that can be that way type shit is it for you to be aware of your place and why things are the way in your life like does that exist for in a matrix level of like society
Well, normally speaking, people talk about being stuck in matrix. It's more so you're stuck in a reality that you think is reality that is you're told this and what's you're told what this is things are supposed to be, but then you realize when you break free from the matrix that there's a whole nother world and what you thought to believe was right wasn't
right
or real wasn't the entire time. I think when people and it's kind of been uh taken a little bit differently over time. People have kind of changed it up, but I essentially when especially when I'm speaking of it, it's more so when you're stuck in the matrix, you're stuck in this idea of what you think the world is. It's
the
for
way
instance,
okay so I see what you're saying the
going
way
to
that I was thinking of like the matrix like you were talking about is just like simulation theory
in a sense, yeah, no, I mean somewhat exactly.
so like that's what I was speaking on but like you're right though that doesn't make sense if you were able to like break free from the matrix, find out that other world, it's like it would be take like a level of taking the leap of faith into that other world, finding out for yourself what actually is because like that takes like a level of like loneliness. Like you probably on your own gotta like break through that shit and like you might not be able to like trust everybody to have your best interest in mind going through that path. And that's tough. Like it's tough to be on that like level of like trust issues or whatever. Maybe there's some paths that you have to take on your own. But like it's kind of like the hero's journey thing we always talk about. It's if you ain't gonna take it, I mean it's up to you. But if you are gonna take it, don't expect anybody to hold your hand through it.
It's gonna be a long journey. You're gonna
Right.
experience a lot of different things, and not all of it's gonna be the most fun or the easiest. And it's gonna be tough too. I don't want for all extremists out there who may be listening as well. I'm not saying you're all stuck in the matrix just because you have a certain thought or you feel as though what you're thinking is right doesn't mean you're sheep.
Right.
Y'all are all stuck in the matrix. I'm outside of the matrix. I know what's like. That's not where I'm going with this. But there is a point in time where you have to realize, from a time you're young, you're getting taught a lot of things that should be a certain way, or this is how life is. Especially when you look at everyday life, the system, you just think that's how life is. So you're not sure what else life could be. But life has a lot of options. You can create a lot of options. You can throw them on the table. Not saying all of them are going to work,
Right.
but where I'm at is to think it's only one way of doing it in anything is just not right. You can try so many different things. Doesn't mean all of them will work. And one of those choices may work better than the rest.
The only thing you do know is the last thing that's gonna work is not trying.
That's factual. And when I think of certain scenarios, I think of course, number one, anyone would think of is college. You know, in America especially, it's seen as the way to go.
I feel
That's
like I'm having this conversation
yeah. I mean,
every.
I would talk about it a lot on
No,
here.
not just like with you, like with everybody.
Everybody. Yeah, me
College
too.
is just
Me too. The worst part is when people tell me that while they're going to school. I just think to myself, you don't tell me that.
the
Like,
worst part is that I know that I'm probably gonna end up going back to school just because of situation establishment we have right now. Let's like this is what I said. This is what I've been saying that like I have a degree that I don't want to use, and as dumb as that sounds, you'd know why if you knew me. I'm thinking about going back to get another one that I would like to use, but that's my last resort. Where I'm at right now is trying to build something for myself without the need of the establishment of college or having to use the degree that I already have.
yeah, I don't have a problem with school per se.
Mm-hmm.
My problem isn't with getting an education. My problem is with when I think of college, I think of universities, which are basically a big corp on education. And I'm going to school because I'm thinking about going back to school as well, but more so not to just get the degree. I'm trying to learn the actual skills, which I could teach myself, but I'm not as good at self learning. You know,
Right.
I would like someone who's a little bit better at what they're doing to
Like
help me
a
and
level
work
of a mentor or a guide.
exactly.
Right.
And I won't mind that. So going back to school seems like a good decision for me, and I'm still gonna use those applications in order to help me through what I'm doing now. I mean, which the goal is, of course, to get this podcast off the ground to help other people in their situations and help them if I can, and eventually open up our own studio, which I
Going
think we have.
global, bitch.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
we have the capability of doing, especially with the talent. Shout out Carlos as well, because I think his
Pochongo.
production skills, his mastering skills have gotten so much better and increasingly. I definitely lost my train.
Profound. No, I'm kidding.
Not the word I'm looking
I don't
for.
know what he's trying to say, but the man's got talent. The boy's got talent.
He does indeed.
The boy's got talent.
So, I mean, going back to school isn't always the worst, especially if you're going there to actually learn. I think where people get lost in it is people aren't going necessarily to really learn. People are going more so for the paper, for stability, for this idea of
Safety.
for this idea of what comes out of college rather than what it should be meant for, in my
What's
personal
sad is
opinion.
the statistic of like how many people coming out of college can't find jobs. Like, I'm not saying that you wasted 4 years of your life. I'm not saying that you like got yourself in a bunch of student debt. What I am saying may have been a waste of because it's like you may have been educated, but if you can't implement that education because there are no jobs available, even if you move cities, even if you move states, you know, what is it going to take for you to get that student debt paid off, for you to feel established and successful through all the time you just spent getting this education? You want to be able to use it probably, and you want to be able to feel fulfilled doing it. You're not going to get that. So what is it gonna take for you to feel like you did something? Because that little piece of paper gonna wilt away. You
Say
know what I
you,
mean?
let's say you do get a job. If you don't love what you're doing, right, and the
Right.
job doesn't pay that much, I mean, it pays enough for you to
Even
be.
if it pays great, is the money worth it? Is the money worth not enjoying your life? You know what I mean? I'm not saying like some people need that, and like I've said this before. If like you got kids, your priorities are out the window. Your kid is your priority now. If you don't got no food, table, clothes, shelter, everything else, you got other shit to worry about. You better go get some money. You better go do don't want to do because like I mean the kid comes first. Your wants are a little bit out the window at that point. You got to take care of your child. But if you are single or even if you're in a relationship and you don't have no kids and you my age or a little bit older or if mid-20s, 30s, however old you are, get your shit together and find out what you want to do.
What
Because
I was
that's all it takes is once you find out what you want to do, you can master that. Once you be able to master, like you say, like this is what you want to do, podcasting, right? How you master that? Go learn all the ins and outs of the studio shit. Go learn all the ins and outs of the audio shit. Go learn all the ins and outs of the video shit. So you implement it upon your craft.
exactly.
Right. So if you love what you do, you're gonna learn how to master it, and you're gonna figure it out. I mean, that's what I think. I might be wrong, but I feel like if you work hard at anything, you're gonna find a way to make it happen.
Facts. I can't disagree with that. But I was more along the lines of, let's say you did get a job and it was secure stability. You're making good money. not just the fact that like if you hate it, because personally, if I hate something and I'm making good money, it's not worth it because I've already been through that,
Mm-hmm.
and I quit because the money wasn't worth it for me, and
Yeah,
and I honestly everything got better after I quit.
that's
My
true.
my
It did.
financial situation didn't necessarily get better, but everything else in my life,
That's handleable.
exactly, I can always make money.
Make up words right now.
You did it wasn't great, but I mean I'll find a way to make money. But I was more along the lines of depending on what school you went to, depending on how much money your tuition and everything was, you could have a good job. But if you have kids, if you get a car, you have a house mortgage you have to pay, plus those student loans, you're where's that money? Like your money's still gone.
Spending money you don't even have.
Exactly. You
I mean,
you
not funny. It's sad, but it's funny because it's like people just act like people act like they don't got $100,000 of student loans and go get a new truck. And I'm just like, couldn't be me. It could not be me, bro. That shit's weird, but I mean, I understand it. People want new toys, people want new shit, but people are willing to work for it. I mean, it's whatever you want.
I I think also with the following your dreams per se or going after what you really want can be tough now. Social media made it easier in a way, but I would like to also say that it has made it harder in the sense of even if it's not necessarily oversaturated, if everything feels oversaturated.
Yeah.
Everything, because you see it so much. Because imagine, even if all you saw were 5 advertisements today on some Bitcoin or what's the thing everyone likes to do? Foreign exchange.
Forex.
If you see Forex or Bitcoin 5 advertisements today, you're already over it. You're thinking, I don't care. This may actually work, but now I don't. Want to try
Right.
because I feel as though I'm getting scammed because everyone's sign up now. You can do.
All right.
But that's 5 people out of
Mhm.
how many?
Mhm.
I mean, even if there was 100,000 people right now who were super invested into Forex, there's 300 million people alone in America. But everything just feels saturated, oversaturated. Art, because
Mhm.
everyone's doing art now. Everyone's like, let me start doing art. Or let me sell my art. But there's so many people, and there's a target audience for everybody.
Right.
And just because I like this person's art doesn't mean I can't like this person's art.
Right. I mean, people are
You know,
treating creation like a race now, and I mean, it has been like that for I guess all of eternity. But like, I mean, whenever you look at like science discovery, race to the space race, and who was the first on the moon, and like we always been like trying to race to have like creation and innovation be like at its highest. But right now, it's like with the power of social media, with the availability and accessibility of how many different avenues the internet has opened up for creation, it's weird how content creators don't see it like, nah, what do we got to do? People see it like, what do we got to do to be number one? What do we got to do to beat that person? What do we got to do to step on their neck so they can drown and we can fucking go rise to the top? Like, what do you got to? What do you have to offer? If you don't like care about your content as much as you hate other people's and want their shit to die and hope that yours can rise above theirs, it's like, why are you even doing this? Like, what I'm doing in this position, and Daniel knows, is like the opposite of what I should be doing as far as making a podcast. I rarely market. I rarely talk about like what I do to like people in like day to day life, and that's a problem. Like, I'm trying to get better at that. I do this purely because I like to do it. I haven't done anything to get it off the ground, and that's been a big like problem for me. And like that's one of my New Year's resolutions to like really start elevating my craft on not just this podcast but my other podcasts as well. But where I'm at is that like I've always only done this because I wanted to do it, because I enjoyed doing it, because I liked being able to have a voice, not necessarily so that I'd get paid to do it or so that I can make a career out of it. This is more of a hobby that I enjoy, that brings peace, that brings it's like a stress reliever type. Like whenever I'm in here, I can zone in. I can just really like forget about the rest of. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like people don't look at their content like that anymore. I feel like people look at their content like a money like a business deal. You know what I mean? Like is everything contractual? Everything is like advertised. I mean, like cool. I understand there's a business side to everything, but it's weird how people lose the ability to care about their content.
Not just that too. I mean, no, it is that what you finished off with. It's not caring about the content enough. You don't see enough original content. It's what can I make that's gonna pop off, or what's good right now, or what can I do right now. A perfect example I'd like to use because it's been on my mind a lot recently is there's a subgenre of EDM. So you have dubstep, right? But then there's a subgenre of dubstep called rhythm.
What you tweeted about today?
Yeah, I did. And so it's called rhythm, and it's just so many people right now making the same thing. It's just gotten lazy. You
For
know,
real?
you have no really good intros. There's no good build-ups. Everyone just focuses on a heavy drop, and it's people use the same sounds. I've heard it before. I've heard it from so many people. This has been done so many times now. Don't get me wrong, I get it. You might love making music, but at a point, in my opinion, you can't just keep making the same thing everyone else is making. It
Right.
might be your own product and you created it yourself, which you should feel good about if you created it. But where I'm at is if you have all these other people making this, right? And you're making the same thing, in my opinion, it just you're not making it from within. You know, you're not
Right.
making what you're truly feeling because music or just really any form of art is more than just a big drop. You know, it's everything.
Mhm.
It's the start, it's the middle, it's the end, the journey. And that
Right.
art is a journey in itself. Anything that you're doing,
Right.
whether it's painting, whether it's a podcast, whether you're an athlete. You know, let's say you're a
Mhm.
basketball player.
It's a form
That's
of art.
that's a journey. Everything. You know, learning everything you have to do, the drills, the constant practice, everything you do is a part of what it is. It's not just one big drop. You can't just throw something down and say, "Here you go." You know,
Right.
you have to show that you know,
Y-
what you've worked for. You got to show the people that you've put in the work
So
with your
so
product.
you're saying that most of these rhythm artists or EDM artists that are creating rhythm are just like phoning it in right now. Like that was the recent. Like they're just like kind of just like, oh, this will work type shit. Like let's just give them that. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, they're gonna love this
they're gonna
one.
love this one, but
And
it's just the same shit. So it's just like, I mean, good song, but it's the same shit. It's like you are creating something just to compete with the person that created this, instead of creating something for yourself and like expanding upon this genre. You know what I mean? Like who's gonna take rhythm to the next level type shit. Is there a next level? We go find out soon. Find out next week type shit.
yeah, I'm gonna give him a shout out real quick though. Shout out Papa Khan because he basically helped birth this thing called polyrhythm, which late this past year or mid last year, he really did a good job though. Because it's like where could rhythm go, and he really
Found an
because
avenue.
he has melodies, and then he just chopped it up to a point where it sounded so good. It wasn't, and you could tell it was original. He wasn't on anyone else's wave,
Right.
and it had still some of those same principles that rhythm has, but with a little bit more originality, and you could tell
Mhm.
that was his product of work, and no one had heard anything like it, which is why it was such a hit.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. Is like I feel like it's more profitable nowadays to make what other people make instead of creating your own shit, which is extremely sad.
It's crazy. We talked about it. I still talk about it a lot. I don't care in multiple conversations because I just don't think people get it or people don't care to hear about it. People like to say capitalism breeds innovation all the time. In my personal opinion, capitalism kills innovation because it's just what's going to make me more profit.
Right.
What can I put out? I can mass produce this. I can.
I'd say it probably does both because I feel like without capitalism, opportunity or elevate, like get your name out there.
That's
Unless
awesome.
your name is fucking Basquiat and you live in fucking Oklahoma, I don't know if anybody's buying your patents, but
That's you said in Oklahoma,
you might
yeah.
have to take a drive to fucking New York or L.A. or wherever they have like outstanding nice art galleries. But if you're like, you might not get the respect you deserve, type shit.
Houston has some nice art galleries as well,
I'm not saying they don't. What I'm trying to say is that if you're from remote places, you might not get found as an artist
unless
in
you're
a
on the
world
internet.
without capitalism.
I mean, you have the internet still, even without
Yeah,
capitalism. You have the. I mean,
but I mean, most of the places you would get it on the internet is were built through capitalism. The websites like Apple Music and fucking
Yeah, a
like,
lot of the places were built through capitalism.
you know
Yeah,
what
I'll
I
give
mean?
you that.
So like the internet being as marketable and useful as it is was built through capitalism too. Like I mean, the availability to have your store found from anywhere on earth. I can just Google like pizza parlor, you know what I mean? And I can find out your address. I can order from my friend across the earth, you know what I mean? Like that's capitalism right there.
Yeah, actually, it's both. It's
Well,
definitely it's both
yeah,
ends. It's both ends.
but
So
so I would say like I agree though. I do agree that it has as of recent killed people's ability to see innovation as important. They view capitalism as important than innovation. So it did necessarily kill innovation, but to get capitalism to this height, it took a lot of fucking innovation and fucking creation to get the internet pumping, to get social media to where it's at, to get just like companies like Google, Amazon, stuff like that, height of their power and like availability to control now. All through cap.
and I know it does suck though, because it probably costs more to do so. But another reason you should support small businesses or local artists in any form is because when you think of big corporations, they're just gonna keep making.
Yeah.
Yes, they do it at an affordable price, but it's like, what cost is that affordable price?
Even when they lose money, they get paid out by the government. They're good.
You
No
know,
matter what.
like it's at this point, what are the labor cuts they're making there? You know, like
Right.
how much money are they really paying these people? They're mass producing all this stuff.
It's
The
like
quality of it
whenever that Target got broken into, a bunch of people like Target, they're fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying it was cool that it got like looted and demolished and shit like that,
is
but
one target.
fucking Target, they can afford it. Like they'll be fine, dog.
It,
I'm not saying that shit's acceptable, but I am saying like don't trip, dog. The fucking buildings that are getting set on fire, I feel like we should worry about those a little bit more than this fucking Target.
it's just something to get mad at. Whatever side perspective,
Is everything.
it really is. And I don't know, when it comes to creating your product, you should, of course, if you want to make money, you should, of course, focus in on what you can do to make money and figure out those aspects. Those are important, but the journey itself is important. Uh, I say a lot of the things, though, people don't realize for people who are doing what they love is
Mhm.
that it's not easy. I mean, like you said, it is easy to wake up and do what you want every day, especially if you have that passion and you have the mental fortitude to get past all the people that are going to judge you
Oh right.
or the loneliness that may come from it or the support you don't get.
I would say that it's a quote by Bob Marley that believe I've said on the podcast. Anything worth having won't. Anything that's easy won't be worth having, and anything worth having won't. That's true. I mean, what could you ever say came easy to you in life that was worth having? You know what I mean? And what's worth having that comes easy? Absolutely, fuck. It's for a good reason. If it did, you would never do anything with your life.
You wouldn't appreciate it.
You wouldn't appreciate it, and you would also never do anything if everything came. Like look at like fucking rich kids that end up like not doing shit with their life, and like the fucking parents have to decide whether or not to let them have the trust fund or fucking like shit like that. Cause like bro, like you're what's that movie? What's that? The Rogan, the Hornet or Green Hornet, the Green Hornet. Whenever he's just like a fucking 27 partying at his dad's mansion type shit, just like throwing parties, breaking shit, just like doing whatever he fucking wants, and his dad like cuts him off type shit. And his dad gets murdered. But that's not the point. What I'm saying is that if you just giving shit in life, you don't know how to appreciate it. So that's like you never gonna know how to maintain it.
That's true. Even if you work hard for it, you might still not maintain it. That's also not the point.
Right. That's also
also not the point.
that's not because you didn't work hard for it. That's because you a jackass.
Very fair of a point. But where I'm at is
But at that point, it's like the same thing. My pops used to tell me. He said, "I don't give a fuck. Like I can break my shit. I can do whatever the fuck with my shit. I worked hard. I earned it. I bought it. It's my shit. I can do what I want with it. You can't break it because you ain't do shit for it. But don't talk to me about like breaking a cup or fuck like because like, I think it was like, one time when he was washing the dishes and he like broke a glass. He used to like get on my ass for like breaking glass, like yell at me type shit. And I understood why because I broke one time. I broke one of his broke the handle off one of his like nice mugs type shit that was from like whenever he won a marathon. Not won a
wow.
marathon, ran a marathon.
Okay.
Like I think I broke the
That's
handle
still like
off
a
of that.
good.
It was nice. I was like kind of like I tried to hide it from him, like being a little kid, so he yelled at me for it. And so like one day, whenever he broke a glass, I tried to like, "What's up?" And he's like, "That's my shit. I can break it. What's up?"
That is, I mean, now that you're older, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. It's like if you
Makes
break
sense.
your own thing, but if I come in and I break it, then you're like,
Oh, what the fuck?
exactly, exactly, and you're not gonna get mad at yourself anyways. Like you're not gonna be like, I can't believe you, you know.
Slap
You know?
yourself.
But where I'm at is the internet is oversaturated, so it's easy to pass by people who truly love what they do, or easy to dismiss it because you're so used to seeing all the someone's just promoting another one of their things, or this is just another account trying to promote whatever it is you do. But why are we so dismissive to that? I am guilty of it too. I'm like, no, thank you.
I'm not. I was about to say that. It's like I would say that obviously everything necessarily is oversaturated from the point that you can't see every post every day of like. So you might be missing out on some shit. Where I'm at is like good. So I mean, like you like what you like, and I'm not saying you wouldn't like the shit you haven't been encountered with, but I mean, just it's up to you to encounter more shit. The internet is free to everybody. Go look up what you like, motherfucker. Like,
Where I'm at is you should take the time at least to check
Yes.
out some things here and there, and
yes,
not
you
just
should.
don't just look at the big accounts because they're big. Check out some of those smaller ones because you might find something you actually like, or you might hate it. That's
Right,
also a possibility.
but what I was trying to get to was that like, if you have a product to put out, don't worry about the saturation. Worry about your product. It's not like Nike worries about what Adidas is putting out. They might at some level, but they got their own shit to worry about. You know what I mean? Both of are established, but at the end of the day, it's like Nike's team got to worry about Nike's team.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's like where I'm trying to get to is if yo content not great, it's gonna get looked over in how things are oversaturated, and that's the way the world is. So worry about your content. Don't get looked over. I mean, it's a step by step process. It's not gonna be easy, and it's gonna take time. But that's the only way to do shit. Nobody, except for unless you famous and you start some, that shit is not gonna come off the ground immediately. If you just like a average Joe and you want to create a podcast, you want to create music, you want to create a movie, you gonna have to find some. If you want to create like some big shit, you gonna have to find some investors that believe in you. If you want to create shit for yourself, you gonna have to find some people that believe in you that want that shit to pop off. But that's not impossible. People treat it like it won't exist. It won't exist if you treat it like you gonna get looked over and oversaturated. You know what I mean? Like if you treat it like that, of course, goodbye. Don't even create it. Why would you? That's how you feel about your own shit. How everybody else gonna look at your shit if you feel like it's gonna get looked over?
That's fair. But look. Okay, I get it. You know, it's easy.
I like that things are oversaturated.
Yes.
It makes it more challenging.
That's fair. And you know, the more original stuff will stick out. You'll still get the shit every now and then that sticks out because people love terrible things for some reason.
Absolutely.
But where I'm at and what I'm saying is, although yes, you are right. For some people, it's not always that easy because it's overcoming all those things that you were born learning, that this is the right way. And you know, some people say follow your dreams or keep doing your thing, keep pushing. But then those same people, whenever you go for what you want and you're actually taking a step out from what people are normally doing, you're stepping outside of the matrix, not doing what you were taught to do or learned was the best way to go about things, but taking your own path. Those same people will come at you and be like, I'm not going to check out your stuff, or that's dumb, or they're not doing the smart thing, or are you sure you don't want to just go to school, go back and get your degree, or this is the way that things should go? And it can be tough for any one person, especially if you love what you do. But let's say you do have anxiety, or let's say you are an overthinker, or let's say you don't have the best mental strength, right? But you do love what you do, and you're going to continue to do it regardless.
Okay.
It can be tough for some of those people, especially along a road where it might be a little lonely because you're going to have naysayers, people who don't believe in you. Of course, it's going to be hard to get off the ground because you're going to have to keep pushing. People aren't going to want to see it. There's a lot of stuff that comes with that.
I'd say that's with anything, with everything. No matter what you do in life, there's gonna be somebody else that wants to take your position. There's gonna be somebody else waiting to take your position.
But you can't say it wouldn't be easier to just say, someone asks, so what are you doing with your life? You could say, well, I'm doing a podcast. I'm working on music, or if you're saying I'm going to school so I can make my own podcast and then help with production, or would it be easier to say I'm going to school to be an accountant?
It'd be easier to say the second one, but that doesn't. I mean, what matters about compl- the how complex what you're doing is? Like that's just goes into like whether or not you're willing to explain. You're saying, would it be easier to say this or would it be easier to say that? I mean, saying things doesn't fucking matter. It's just words. You can tell people whatever you want. I could tell you that I raise lizards and fucking and my dog eats them, and then we go on fucking runs in the park so he can
That's kind of
shit them
cool.
out. I could tell you that it's not true, but I mean, who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're willing to explain and let people know, like, yeah, so I'm doing a podcast, I'm really passionate about it, working on the side so I can my bills. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make some money on the side. You gotta live. You know how it is. But really, this podcast thing is starting to pan out. I'm not getting all the viewers that I want, but how I feel about it is really starting to raise up. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. You talk about that with somebody, they'll be like, "Oh, what's the podcast about?" They ain't gonna be like, "Ah, you're a fucking loser." You know
So
what I mean?
mean,
And if they are, then fuck them. Like that's them.
that's
That's
fair.
their. That's what they were bred to think. That you're nothing if you aren't an accountant, or you're nothing if you aren't going to college for a degree. That's what they think. That shouldn't drive how you feel about yourself
Oh,
or how you
never,
feel about your content.
never.
And so going forward with that, it's like don't worry about what's easier to say or what's easier. Worry about what you doing with your life. About what you can be in that situation. Whenever somebody talks to you and they think that they're better than you, they make $100,000 a year. It's like you may have everything you need to pay for absolutely paid off, but you can't talk to me like that. I'm a human being too. Why do we have a difference of opinion on my career choice? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, sir, I'd like you to either exit before things get twisted or apologize, and we can continue this conversation. Because I don't see any reason for somebody to look down on you for choosing to do what you want to do with your life. And if they do, them, give them the opportunity to change their mind or leave. And then if things get to that level, handle your business. I mean, I'm not inciting violence. I am a little.
Okay, two things. One, please raise lizards so you could feed them to your dog, so you can take them for a run later to shit them out. I'd love to see that.
It'd be like a YouTube channel. I feel like that would get
On
pulled off.
I hands down, if anyone ever told me they raised lizards to feed into their dog, I would probably like, that's a little weird, but I'm here for it all day. I'd love that. Two, also, I completely agree with what you said, but whenever you're talking to people, it can be a multitude of things. Let's say it's a family member, you don't, it's one of those things you don't want to have to hear necessarily what they have to say. You don't want to hear what they have to say, but it's just sometimes whether it's a family member or a stranger giving you the just like you're doing that. Oh, you're
Great.
still doing that.
Welcome. This is how I feel. If like you should welcome that, because that's how viewers are gonna look at your shit before somebody click on it. It's like person really fucking say. You know what I mean? Like, do I really want to fucking listen to you guys? You know what I mean? That's how a viewer should be looking at a new viewer. Gonna be looking at this that way every time. You should think like that. So that's gonna challenge you to do better. It's gonna challenge you to be all about this shit. And it's also going to give you a step up in those conversations. I'm ready for you. You don't like what I do? Thank you. You know what I mean? It's like you got to see adversity like that and welcome it. So, because that's the only way to get over it. Get over that shit by letting people dictate how you feel about yourself. That's like saying a family member looking at you some type of way for doing what you want to do makes you want to not talk to them that way or talk to them at all anymore. If that's the case, then maybe you know a little bit more about this family member. Maybe you know that they ain't supporting me. Why should I be talking to them? I don't got to talk to you. Fuck you. Here's some turkey. You know what I mean?
Thanksgiving
Type shit.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Type shit. It's like, I mean, where I'm at is like people don't got to like you. Family got to love you. They don't got to like you. I can despise you, but I'm there whenever you call. You know what I mean? It's like family's family. I'm not saying that's how it is for everybody. And that's my values type shit. I don't gotta like you. I'm not like you for a long time. Call me, you need me. type shit. That's my family values. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that like if somebody not supporting what you want to do, I guarantee whenever you look at it in your mind, you know who supports you and you know that that's enough.
As it should be.
And so where I'm at is that if you want to get anything off the ground, start with your circle. Make sure everybody around you knows that you all about that shit. And there, everybody that supports you, gonna support you. You just gotta be all about that shit at that point. And at that point, it's like where I'm at is think about think about people that like are athletes that came up from nothing and like their mama had to like jobs for them. So like all that they've done to work by their mama. Think about that feeling whenever their mom like, where I'm at is that like she's not gonna be on some shit like this is what I deserve for all those years of taking care of you and working two jobs, and then she gonna be on some like there's accept this like I thank you so much, I'm so proud of you, like types of shit, like not no fucking like jealousy or like anything of that nature. It's always gonna be love. And so what I'm at is like love and support go a really long way. And I'm not saying everybody has that in their life, but I am saying that if you do have it in your life, appreciate it because that shit can push you to links that you may not know that you have.
Agreed. You should use that love and support. Also, for all of those people who are looking to start something new, or you want to do something new, or you want to do what you want, you don't know where to start. Start somewhere. Start anywhere, really, and work your way from there. Don't worry about all the things you can do. Don't worry about all the things that you haven't done.
Hell yeah.
Worry about the things that you are doing, and worry about the things that you already have gotten motion, because the rest will fall into place. If
Hallelujah.
you're constantly worried about the things that you don't do and constantly worried about the things you haven't done, you'll just get stuck in a loop of not doing anything because you keep thinking about all the things you need to do rather than what you're doing. But just focus on what you're doing, start somewhere. I promise you it'll all go from there. Little by little, focus on what you are doing right now.
Don't overthink it. Just find out what you enjoy. Figure out where that shit goes. Fucking beautiful.
Because
But
no, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was
Me
gonna,
what?
I was gonna say, if anything, I'll tell you I know probably better than most. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of just thinking about what you want to do rather than do.
Right.
So make sure that if you really want to do something, or if there's something you want to do, just do it. Just do it. It doesn't have to be great. Greatness doesn't come right away. It never will. You know, sometimes it might just happen for you. You never know. Things do just happen. Life is like that. It's a crazy thing. So there's no point in not doing what you want to do.
Maybe 4, 5, 10, 15, 30, 100 reasons for you not to do that shit. Go do that shit anyway. Fuck it.
Exactly.
Figure that other shit out later.
Exactly.
Unless you got.
And you need, that's or like a serious situation where you need the money ASAP, Rocky.
You guys will come to understand I'm heavy on the if you got kids, I don't give a fuck about what you say. Go take care of your kids.
Our family, period. Like if there's something serious in your life that
Right.
you know, priorities are important. You know, later down the road, if there's an opportunity for you to take on what you want to do it. But yeah, for sure, kids.
Absolutely. That's all I got for this week. And then
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. But last thing, thank you everyone who's been tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. We love doing what we do. We're gonna make this happen, and for all of you who are here with us now, get ready to watch us grow because we got a lot of things coming for you this year. A lot on our plate, but we're gonna make it happen. And also shout out Malik Riles. That's our new manager. He's gonna be taking care of a lot of things. I just wanted to give him a shout out because I think he's gonna do an amazing job.
I'm also gonna shout out Court Vision Pod. We're about to start recording again. I think we're getting an episode in Thursday this week. Should be out hopefully Friday, if not Monday. And free shout out. I'm gonna be starting my solo podcast in May on my birthday. It's gonna be when I drop my first episode. It's gonna be called Just Joshin', and I'll be putting out some advertisements and previews for that coming soon. Guys, stay tuned.
I did not know that. I just found that out. I'm looking forward to catching that. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll have more to come. Have a wonderful day and take care. Thank you.
Bye bye.